The story begins with a man announcing that he is going to annul his engagement. The female lead, Yulia Noga, internally labels him a fool. The scene then shifts to 5 years earlier, to the house of Marquis Kirian. The Kirian household arranges for the eldest son, Rammer, to be engaged to Yulia, the eldest daughter of Count Noga. Rammer informs his father that the Noga family is wealthy, involved only in business, and that their money could be used to pay off the Kirian family's debts. His father instructs him to remain silent. In the carriage, Yulia's father explains that while the engagement is an offer from a marquis, a family with a higher social standing than their own, he is willing to cancel it if Yulia does not wish to proceed. She senses that her father has noticed her unease. Despite their financial struggles and their reliance on the Noga family's wealth through this engagement, Yulia observes that the Kirian family's furniture is exceedingly luxurious and concludes they are typical brainless nobles fallen into ruin. Rammer, she thinks, is no different. However, Yulia realizes that by securing the title of a marquis, she could expand her business ventures, making the engagement seem worthwhile. From the start, there had been no romantic feelings between her and Rammer. Their engagement had been arranged by their families purely as a political alliance. Returning to the present, Rammer declares that a woman like Yulia is unworthy of him. He announces that he has met an angel named Julie, with whom he intends to marry, and asks if Yulia understands. She smiles and tells him that she does. Internally, she wonders if he is unaware that the Marquis household demands monthly payments from the Noga family. He then concludes the conversation and instructs her to pay the bill, claiming he has no money. Yulia agrees and, as he departs, he warns her not to harass Julie. Yulia waves at him with a smile, thinking that if he is truly capable of breaking off the engagement, then he should do it. She does not care, but she does ponder whether Julie refers to Miss Banach. Suddenly, a woman trips in front of Yulia. Concerned, Yulia asks if she is all right, and the woman apologizes, assuring her that she is fine. Julie Banach had transferred to the school from downtown earlier that year. A commoner by birth, she was later revealed to be the illegitimate daughter of Count Banach and was brought into the family. With her lovely appearance and cheerful personality, Yulia's fiancé was immediately captivated by her, but something about Julie unsettles Yulia. After school, Yulia heads somewhere and greets a woman, asking how she is doing. The woman, Matilda, a former veterinary nurse to the royal family, responds that she is well and has been waiting for Yulia. Matilda reveals that she has acquired excellent tea leaves from a neighboring country, and they should try them. They prepare to begin their meeting, and Yulia feels a surge of excitement because it concerns the continuation of the publication of a book titled Dokidoki, Even If I Become a Nobleman, I Will Do My Best. Yulia, a successful businesswoman managing product development and the Noga family stores that specialize in merchandise, is also responsible for publishing and editing this book. As Yulia reads the manuscript, she notices that the popular main character, the prince, appears in the new chapter. She questions whether it is plausible for a prince to take an afternoon nap beneath the shrubbery. Matilda remarks that their prince would indeed do such a thing, but Yulia suggests they should instead have him nap in a gazebo nearby. Though it is a fantasy story for readers, Yulia argues that the scene is too far-fetched, and a prince would not sleep in such an exposed location. Moreover, if any nobles were to read the book, they might assume the prince depicted is based on a real person. She stresses the need for a degree of fictionalization. Except for the names of the prince, his fiancée, and his older brother, the characters in the book bear an uncanny resemblance to real individuals. If the story were ever brought to trial, it could lead to demands for compensation and cause significant financial losses. As she continues reading the script, Yulia suddenly notices something peculiar. When Matilda asks if something is wrong, she replies that it is nothing. However, internally she realizes that the book's main character had once lived as a commoner before it was revealed she was the illegitimate child of a count, and was later adopted and transferred to the same high school where a beautiful nobleman fell in love with her. The story sounds eerily similar to the life of Miss Banach, leading she to suspect that the book might be based on her. The other characters in Dokidoki seem to represent prominent nobles, including the prince of the country, and the setting matches her high school. That a few days later, Yulia finds herself in the high school courtyard. In Dokidoki, the main character has a secret rendezvous in the rose garden. If her assumptions are correct, then this is where her fiancé and Miss Banach would likely meet. From the bushes, Yulia has a perfect view of the pond, and the angle is ideal for hidden observation. She conceals herself in the bush and, to her surprise, finds not her fiancé, but the first prince of the country, Radonic Reino Palacio, sleeping. As Matilda had mentioned, he is completely defenseless. Yulia muses that it would not be her problem if a lady with ill intentions were to take advantage of the prince's vulnerable state, that Yulia's heart begins to race, as this is the first time she has seen the prince up close. She muses that choosing him as the model for the story was the best decision, and new business ideas begin to flood her mind. If she could somehow manage to mass-produce pictures of the prince, she could make a significant profit. She forces herself to calm down, realizing she needs to prepare her recording device. Just as she reaches for it, the prince opens his eyes and wakes up. He notices her and asks if she is Roland's younger sister, if he's not mistaken. Yulia, keeping her composure, tells him to be quiet, informing him that they are here, Rammer and Miss Banach, as she suspected. The prince asks if the man is indeed Rammer, and she confirms that he is her fiancé. The prince is stunned. Yulia then asks for today's date, and he replies, "It's the 4th of May, 3:33 p.m. She bows respectfully and asks if he will forgive her earlier rudeness. He responds that she must have her reasons and that he will leave it to her imagination. He then inquires if she plans on returning, since she recorded the time and date. He explains that this spot is his secret napping place, and if she comes here every day, it will cause her trouble. She nonchalantly responds that there is no better place than this to film in secret. Shocked, he wonders if she just clicked her tongue at him. She apologizes, and after a brief pause, she informs him that she will not be returning for a while anyway, as Rammer is planning to annul their engagement in a few days. The prince asks how she can say that with such confidence, to which she reveals that, according to a prophetic writing, it will happen soon. Confused, the prince asks what she means. Yulia shows him the Doki Doki book, and his confusion deepens. She directs him to a bookmark page, showing him that the scene they just witnessed is written there. The prince reads it and remarks that she is right. Yulia tells him he doesn't have to believe her. He then questions why she was recording the moment. Yulia reveals that, according to the prophetic writing, she is portrayed as a foolish and jealous woman. Assuming Miss Banach is the protagonist in the novel, Yulia reasons the villainess must be her. If things continue according to the writing, Yulia, driven by jealousy, will bully the protagonist, leading to her exposure. Rammer will use this as leverage to annul their engagement, and as the primary instigator of the bullying, Yulia will be convicted, resulting in a miserable school life. The prince looks at her, bewildered. Yulia continues, explaining that she doesn't actually consider herself a fool or a deeply jealous person, and in truth, she doesn't even love her fiancé. The prince asks if it is wise to speak so openly about such matters. Yulia dismissively responds that he isn't an important figure in her life. He's like the clouds above, distant and uninvolved. She asks if the trivial chatter of one female subject bothers him so much. He then asks again if she is Roland Nogua's younger sister, and whether he shouldn't involve himself, considering she is his friend's sibling. Yulia acknowledges that while the prince is indeed her brother's friend, he is not hers. She explains that society would never accept a friendship between the daughter of a countess who is engaged and the crown prince. If her engagement remains intact, people would misunderstand and assume she is trying to secure a more prestigious match. The rumor-loving nobility would turn her into prey, and it would be better for everyone if they avoided associating with one another. The prince nods in understanding and responds that he will permit her to come here under one condition. She must become his friend. Yulia, clearly irritated, tells him he doesn't understand the situation. The prince, stunned by her boldness, comments that this is the first time in his life he's seen a young lady click her tongue, and she has now done it twice. Yulia, equally frustrated, apologizes but declines his offer. She explains that while his offer is an honorable one, she chooses her friends based on what she can gain or lose. The prince, now intrigued, asks if she truly selects her friends that way. Yulia confirms this, elaborating that she is just a powerless girl, and as she previously mentioned, a friendship with him comes with its own set of risks. She doesn't want to deal with the troublesome implications, but she knows that if she explains it to him, he will surely understand. The prince reminds her that he helped her earlier by providing the time and date. Yulia acknowledges this, knowing full well that the prince is far more persuasive than she is. She considers that in the future, if she needs to record the date and time again, it would be difficult to refuse his help. She begins calculating the potential risks and rewards of such an arrangement. The prince, sensing her hesitation, stretches out his hand and suggests that they get along from now on. Yulia, confused and still weighing her options, eventually concedes that it cannot be helped. She extends her hand, and they shake. Both are left with the impression that the other is quite strange. As they part ways, Yulia wonders whether this encounter with the prince will prove to be a victory or a loss in the end.